There you go. Now we're ready. We're going to be going through how to do race management. We're going to be doing a WISSOTA focused race management. So I'm going to use their lineups, show how that would work as far as that goes. We're going to be building an entry list. We're going to be creating lineups using the WISSOTA method, using MRP Live with both Westhold and MyLaps, doing the results. And it's not on the sheet here, but you know what? Let's just do points as well. Let's call it a bonus. So we'll do the points on top of that. Call it a bonus feature there. Because I'm sure you'd probably want to add points at the end of the race there. So we'll do that. I have some races set up for tonight. So we're going to be working in one class. We go into the race management. If you have questions about how to set up a schedule, we did go over that Monday. That's actually on the YouTube page. You can actually go to myracepass.com/YouTube and see that. You're also able to go to the help videos right here. That'll take you there. We have a whole playlist set up for them. So we have that ready for you as well. So let's get started on the race management side of things. And I'm going to do mine inside of the late model class. Of course, if you're using WISSOTA sanctioned classes, you'd be using the special classes that we mentioned, of course, on Monday. And it's going to want to know what we want to do about pill draw and what we want to do about transponders. So I'm going to keep in the transponder numbers. My track here, we're going to allow rentals. If you don't, we can select that. We also can select what we want to do here. I'm going to have the drivers just draw pill numbers for me, and I'm going to do the fast check-in process. So it's just going to draw numbers for me automatically without me having to do anything. If I wanted to, I can also have the drivers hit a button. We can do that before or after we select a driver. I could also do it manually if I wanted to as well. We have options for that. When we're having the system draw pills, we can set what we want the maximum number to be. So I've set that right now at 100. You can set that higher if you want. I've seen some folks set it ridiculously high just to mess with your drivers. You can do that too. I don't judge. Go buck wild. So the other thing we have here is the rebase pill. With that rebase pill, what you're able to do is set a new low number for the pill. So if I was to set this to 70, 70 would be the best number that you could draw. 69 would be the worst number you could draw. So it kind of resets the field, changes up which numbers are best. We can set these as defaults right here. This probably isn't a page you're going to be going back to too often once you get kind of into the flow, into the swing of things. But wanted to show this off to show you the different options that you have right along with that. So we'll get started here with MRP Live. I'm going to open up the first transponder system we're going to use. So get set up with that. I'm going to use Westhold first, just because, so I have it over here. And we're going to launch from web. So I've already downloaded MRP Live. If you need to do that, you can download that right here. You can also go to getmrp.live, and that's what will download this here. If you haven't touched it since the off season, make sure that you update it. You can do the same thing. It'll prompt you to update. Make sure you're on the most recent version. We have updated some things in the off season since. So if you haven't touched it since the fall, take a look at it. Make sure you have the most up-to-date version. So let's match up some numbers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to match up. I took this IP address, I copied it here. Oh, don't think there are WISSOTA tracks using Westhold. I'm not sure. I did put it on the list here that we were doing the Westhold and MyLaps, so I'm going to do both. Just because I know there are non-WISSOTA tracks here as well. Know that I will also go over the others. So we are good to go there. But I will I'll go over all of it. We also have the TCP/IP port. For most people, this is 50,000 right here. And then you want this R monitor box, the enable network, connected right here. So we got that going. Make sure that we're selecting our appropriate system. So we're using Race Manager today. And then they have a special assignments path that it goes to that's on your computer. I've matched that up here, and that's where it's going to go. And so when I hit this launch from web, it also pulled in the special code for today's event, and so it linked it together. See? So pretty straightforward to get it connected. Actually, we got, if you do have any, I'll go over some more troubleshooting with that actually on Monday. So if you have any questions about that or the setup specifically, we'll also go over both of the troubleshooting processes on Monday to kind of give you a bit of a teaser to the next the next one. So let's go into the entry list here. We have our entire list of drivers. I have gotten this, I'm going to do the late models today. I have gotten this either through online registration or they're the drivers who raced with me last year. There's a couple different ways that I could have received these folks. And so I have a few different ways to enter in these drivers. So one of the ways I can do is I can use the filter here, and we can filter by first name, last name, or car number. So let's do that. Let's pick 55 of Chuck Brown Jr. Let's click on him, and we're going to see a couple things about Chuck. So we have his car number in here by default. If he was needed to change it, we can change that in here. The system drew a number for me automatically. You can see that here. He has an owner in the system, and the payout is going to that owner. We also can put in his transponder number. We're going to need to do that, so I'll put in this. We can also see the other transponders that he's used at different places, so we can pull previous numbers if we need to. We can set this as a default, so if he owns his transponder, we can set that up so that it'll remember it each time. We also can set if a transponder is rented or not. And if we set it as a default and it is rented, it will remember that is a rented transponder. So we can see there an image here. He's claimed his profile, so he has a new image. We can see how old he is. He has claimed his profile. That'll do a lot of different benefits. We'll get to what those mean in a bit. We have his address on file here, so we can see that. And right here at the bottom, if this was a sanctioned event by WISSOTA, we would see that if they have a license or not. We'd also have options here to for a temp license to get him set up with a temporary license, or just to bypass that. All of those will go to WISSOTA. Obviously, this is a test race. This isn't sanctioned, so I don't have to worry about that. But if it is sanctioned, it'll show right here if they have a license or not. It'll also show if they've done my online registration. The last thing I'll show you here is this lineup override. So he drew really well. He drew 10. So let's say he was really new, or he showed up late, or we just don't like him. We can actually set him to the back of all heats. And no matter what, he's just going to be moved to the back, just even though he drew 10. You'll get a little icon. I'll show what that looks like. So we'll set him to the back. Let's say he's just very uncomfortable starting up front. That's okay. We'll set him there. You can see that we have at a glance some of his information. He's rented his transponder. This is what that transponder is, his pill. We are paying an owner. That owner is right down here at the bottom. And we could just keep this process going. So we could filter this out from our drivers, find them, look over everything, put in their transponder number, and check them in. But we have other ways that we can check in drivers as well. One of them, let's say that they are a completely new driver. They haven't raced with me before. We could search for them in the system here. If they are in the system, if they have a MyRacePass account, we'd see that up there. If they don't, it'll let them create, it'll let us create a new driver. It is going to ask for a hometown. It's going to match those names and hometowns together. So make sure that you add one if you are making one. And also make sure that you are checking for different variations for names. So we have a Chuck ground here. We want to make sure we don't have a Charles ground, because that could cause issues for us in the future. Duplicate drivers, we want to try to avoid them as much as possible. They can split up points. They can cause a little bit of havoc for you as you get later on in the season. And that's why I recommend actually using the scan barcode up here at the top. So if you are a WISSOTA track or a USRA track, or there's actually a lot of other drivers that have these, you actually have this up at the top here. You can scan that in for the barcode, and then it'll pull up their profile. So it'll pull up the correct profile every single time there. So when you use that, you can use that there. We have a scanner that we recommend over in our help desk. You can use that. Also, drivers that claim their profile on their phone, or on their phone, they'll have the in the app, they'll have their own spot that they can use, and it'll scan that as well. It does not ask for the birth date. It's just going to ask for the first name, the last name, and the hometown when you create a new driver. To be honest, you should probably try to avoid creating new drivers as much as possible. It should really only be a last resort. If you have to create a new driver, really, you'd want to do that in this season management, so that or in the online registration, and then it'll have all that other fields put in for you. So there we go. We have a couple drivers here. We can put in the barcode here. Highly recommended. Again, drivers can only claim, they really should only have that one profile, that one card. So you use that, solve a lot of problems. Also works a lot faster for you there. So it's going to go really quick. You use that scan barcode. Other ways that we can enter in drivers is we can import from a previous race. So if we were doing a 2-day show that went Friday into Saturday, we could pull in the information here from the last time these guys raced. I believe they raced on the 3rd. Yep. We can pull in pill numbers. We can pull in transponder numbers and import them. And then these guys can draw pills here. This is what that pill draw window would look like. And click it. To be honest, that's some of the best drawing I've ever done. So there we are. It's a lucky day. If you have any questions about anything that we're doing here, Alt and H is the place to do it. That'll bring up the chat window. I'm going to answer every single question that people give to me. If I don't immediately get to your question, that's okay. I'll get back to it. I'll kind of circle back to it. We'll have a spot open for questions as well. The last spot here that we're going to do is this speed entry. And with that, as long as we don't have any duplicate car numbers or duplicate transponder numbers, it's just going to check these drivers in for me. Right there. So it skips that opening window. So I'm going to enter in these transponder numbers. You're going to need to use the long transponder numbers. That's going to be what links up the two together. Between the transponder system and MyRacePass, that's the number it's looking for. There we go. Cool. So that's good to go. We have the transponders in there. We can sort this list, by the way, by the pill number, their last name, or their actual car number too. We needed that. We also have entry list reports and transponder lists. So if we did want to keep track of the transponders and who had rented them, you can see that right down there. Then have them sign it back up when we're ready. We're gonna move right along into the races. Here we'll have a list of all of the races that we have done previously. We can see what we've done in the past. This goes back 50 events. So you have you can pick, if you have a special or something you liked from the past, you can do that. So let's add races. Let's do 1 heat and 1 A feature. For that, I'm going to set it up. I'm just going to do 5 laps. We'll do 25 here. Set this to tech 3, and we'll add it. So in that side there, we have our heats. We can set how many drivers per row we want it to go. It's going to default to 2 for pretty much everything. So we could do that. We could rename these for sponsors here. But the main thing we're going to want to do is we're going to set our transfers. So we're going to set who moves on to the next race. So for me, 10 drivers is pretty straightforward. I'm going to say all 10 racers from Heat 1 move to the A feature. But we could get pretty specific with this. So if we were running a B, it would ask how many are going to the A, then how many are going to go to the B, and then from the B to the A. So you can get real specific. You're going to make sure for WISSOTA purposes that you're doing the per race, because that's going to take them out of each race. From group would be for passing point options, which is another show. So we're going to save this. We are good to go here. I do see that we have some questions here. I am going to get to those as soon as I can. We'll get to a question portion of the show. Don't worry about that. We're going to go into our lineups next. And so we can definitely just click in manually. Folks, we can move them around by clicking up here. We can X them out of the race. But a faster way to do that would be to calculate lineups. I'm going to pick the WISSOTA Heat and calculate. And then it will calculate that lineup based on the WISSOTA rules. It's going to ask how is this calculated. And then you can see right here, it's based on that pill number. Except for right here, we have our little asterisk there because we set that driver to the back. We can even see we have that driver starting in the back. He has a little arrow here. We can share this to our Facebook and Twitter page right from here. We can also recalculate lineups if I picked the wrong one. We can do that from here, move drivers around, however we need to do that. We are also right now going to click on MRP Live, and this is where we're going to send the lineups. And for this race in Westhold, we're going to send those lineups. They're going to be in here in the assigned path for our late models. And we'll go into MRP Live, and we will time this race out. So let's go into the timing. We'll start her up. And so in MRP Live, it's actually going to show, this is what the fans would see if they have a subscription here. We can actually follow along with our favorites. It has their information. If I was interested in some other things, like who is the hard charger, I can actually see the positions gained here, and it's going to sort by that. I can also see who ran the fastest lap. This is all things that folks will be able to see from the app. I set in 5 laps, so 5 laps happened. It auto stopped for me. So we're just going to hit the stop button here. We can save this if we want to, but we don't have to. We'll minimize this, and we'll go down into our results. And so here we'll have our latest pending race. We can click on that. And here is all of our drivers. Let's say BJ at Buffalo here, his transponder just fell off. He actually finished right here. We can click and drag him. We also can put if they did not finish, didn't start, we're disqualified, we're black flagged. And then for this, we're not going to use it, but there's also a no passing points. That's what that's for. You don't need to worry about it if you're not using passing points. We'll save it as completed. When we save it, it'll also update on the MyRacePass app. If you have a website through MyRacePass, it'll update on the website. So it updates a lot of different places. It does the same when we create lineups. And again, we'll be able to share this to Facebook and Twitter right from here. I'm going to switch it up now, and I'll show how to do setting up orbits. So I'm going to get orbits 5.4 out, and we're going to show off the features in orbits. For the features, that's going to be pretty straightforward as far as creating that lineup. We will just do the WISSOTA 3-week point average. It'll calculate that out, and then it's set that up for me. And again, we can put how is this calculated. We have that average. See that we have some new guys here, haven't raced with me before, and we do have that average available. Again, this is all shareable, but we're going to go back into MRP Live. You will probably not be switching transponder systems in the middle of a race, but our track is very wacky. We do a lot of a lot of different changes here. For orbits, we're actually going to open up the scoreboard settings, and a lot of the same numbers are going to be here. So this is where we're going to find all of this. We have that IP address right here. We'll switch it to orbits. The 50,000 in here, we'll take this number, put it here. We'll use the same thing we did for the connection code. The biggest difference is that we'll just go to our computer, and I actually have a file on my desktop that I use, and I put all of the different races inside of it. The reason is it's going to move those. We're going to be looking for it in a specific spot. So we're going to import groups and runs here. I'm actually going to delete all that. There we go. Clear this out. So when we get to it, we're actually going to connect it and then import groups and runs when we get here. So we'll send it. Lineups are sent. We'll go into orbits, import groups and runs. It's going to ask where we want to import those at. And then I have them, again, all right here. We'll import the runs. The import is done. We have our A feature. And then you won't have to do this. I generally do, though. I have a track simulator that we're going to use for our A main. Here we go. Okay. So again, the same idea. As everything's going on here, it's going to keep what's going. So we can see the cars going around circle, and then it's going to update as they cross the line. So on and so forth. If we throw a yellow, it'll update that on here, keep track of it. So we can keep track of the race in here. I generally, when I'm doing the live timing, I just have the MRP Live open here so I can see that it is displaying to the fans that have an app subscription. That is, everything's kind of working as intended there for me. So we're just going to do a real quick feature here. You know, I swear every single year this class just gets faster and faster. Whew. 25 laps done in under a minute. And again, we're just going to hit that stop button right here. It's going to ask if we want to stop the timing. That's how MRP knows that you are done with that race. So we'll go into our results. And you should see that right here, latest pending race. There we are. Save it. And we are good to go. So that's all of our results done. Now let's go into the points and pay. So beforehand, I've actually gone into points/pay, and I've added in here. So we have the WISSOTA national point structure. That's a global point scheme. So if you want to add that yourself, you can go to global sanction. You'll scroll down. You'll see that there is a WISSOTA national point scheme. There's also the WISSOTA passing point rules. If you're doing WISSOTA passing points, you could do those. But I've chosen that national point scheme. I also have added in payout. So to do that, what you do, you'll click here, you'll add into your payout, you'll put in the name. So let's just do Wednesday webinar 2020. We're going to add in our breakdowns. So it's going to ask what race are they getting paid for. We'll say the A feature. And then for here, we've actually revamped this. So if you've haven't seen this in a while, we've actually changed this up from how it used to be. You have a lot more options now about setting this up. If you're in a partner plan, you actually can set things with points a lot more intricately. But let's do, I'll do 20 positions. I'll start my pay at, let's do 600. We'll decrease it by $25. And we hit add, and it's going to go down kind of linearly. I can adjust this if I wanted to, if it's actually just 130 when it gets down to here. And then you'll also see that there is a plus. So whatever you put your last position, there'll be that number plus. So what that means is that if I put $100 here, I don't have to keep adding in positions ad nauseum for this. So if I have 24 drivers show up, it will add in $100 for everybody that comes after that point. So we can do that there. We also can add breakdowns for B features, for heats. So we could do something like this for the B. So something you might do is, I might put 50, so first place plus. Now, of course, we don't want anybody, we just want everybody else to get 50, not the people who transfer out. And that's what you'll use this button right here for. So when you select this, anybody that transfers out of the A feature won't receive that 50. So that's how that comes into play. So we've done all that. We've added in our WISSOTA points. We've added in pay. Let's add it in here. So that's going to be broken up to two special spots. So we'll add the WISSOTA national points scheme, and then we'll add the pay. It actually now will remember the most recently used and commonly used points and pay schemes that you're using. We can see who's all eligible to receive all these. We were applying these to the competitors, and we'll hit add. Bam. So based on the WISSOTA national points and the pay that we just set up, it's actually calculated all of this out for us. We can make adjustments to this. So let's say, I really just don't like this guy. So let's get rid of 25 points here. This guy won a sponsorship for $25 for being second. We'll save it. By the way, you probably have to run it by WISSOTA before you take away 25 points from a driver, but this isn't a sanctioned race, so. So you can see here, it's going to make those adjustments to both. So poor Sandy Summer Sausage has to deal with my decisions. We'll hit create payments. So you're going to want to create payments for every single one of your races, even if you're not paying checks. That'll help with the updated payment report at the end of the year. So it doesn't matter if you don't have to worry about the type if they're getting anything here. I'm creating checks though, so we're going to do that. Let's create some checks. We'll put in our starting check number. I understand everything's good here, and it'll create it. If we have the address in for those drivers, it'll update their address. Has my address in on here, and then we're able to print these off onto there. We also have a variety of different reports that you can use. You saw a few of them. We have the lineups reports. We've also made some of the different lineup reports work on different types. So The chalkboard lineup now, we can just do all of the heats. If you wanted to just do all heats in the chalkboard lineup, you can. You also have points and pay reports, things like that, point averages, a lot of different things there. If you are a WISSOTA track and you're wondering how you need to send this to WISSOTA, if it's sanctioned, it already is. When you calculate that out, it is going to send that out to WISSOTA, and you're done. It's going to update across the MyRacePass app. If you have a website, it'll update the website. So it's you're you can pat yourself on the back for a job well done if you do that. So yeah, that would be a very quick night of racing. If you have any questions about anything here, we're going to open it up to some questions right now. So we're going to hit Alt and H, and we'll bring up the questions for that. I'm going to answer some from the past. I'll also be taking roll here at the end of the questions, so hang tight if you do want to be counted for that. And I will also take this time to remind everybody that in 45 minutes, we're going to be doing one of these, but for IMCA. So if you wanted to see one more IMCA focused with how we would handle doing some of their different things they got going on, wait 45 minutes and we will do that. Okay. Does a 2-day event show up correctly in the app? So if you put in that the event is 2 different days, it will. You might have to do some things to make the lineups do for the 2 days. What I generally do is if I'm doing a 2-day show and I know what the lineups are going to be based on what happened the day previous, I will actually make the lineups into MyRacePass for that one day, print them out, delete them out, and then work in the second day and create the lineups in that second day. So that way everything shows up. I use the import from previous with all the entries and then just create what I had created on that first day. Because generally for a 2-day show, it works off of their passing points or something that we already know tangibly from the first day. So that's how I'll get it to show up correctly for a 2-day event. How did I do the speed entry? So inside of entries, down towards the bottom, there's a speed entry. You just click that box and you have a speed entry. So how long had the webinar been going? Yes, that it would have been 15 minutes. So when you ask the question, so it's been going on for a half an hour now. We started it at 5:30 Central Time. Orbits users, there's a selection you have selected to show 2 yellow flags. Good to know. It'd be great if it had car numbers. There's actually other reports too that have the pay that will also have the car numbers. This report for the points pay just only has just the facts of who got paid and what check. And we also didn't want that to conflict too much with the check number that was being printed out. Too many numbers in on it. But I would use probably either detailed points or points awarded, points paid by race. Points paid by race is nice because all of them have some degree of flexibility. This one, I believe, we can select the different things that we want, and it also shows the owner. So if we just only cared about, well, not when they started, we'd have the car, we'd have the pay. It's all set up and ready to go. Okay. But again, Alt and H is the spot to ask any questions about things. From here, I'll actually show off some of the other things inside of the race management you may not have seen. So there's, if your lineup has a redraw already, it will actually automatically do a redraw, but I'll just kind of force one. So you can see what that redraw screen looks like and what happens. So inside the redraw, we have what they draw. We can actually have the system do it, which I'll do here, or we could put in the numbers. And when we save that, it'll actually have this little number here to show that redraw. So we have that. If you ever need to do an invert, you can actually do that from lineup options right here. We're going to invert the top 4. All right. And somebody is annotating on my screen. Again, Alt and H is the spot to do questions. So if you have any questions, Alt and H is the place to do that. So feel free here. This is your time. Any questions that you have, be happy to do so, to ask those questions. So let's do, there we go, got some. Sure, so the calculate lineup options, so there's a lot of different lineups that you have to choose from. Let's not save changes. So in here, this My Lineups is the lineups that I have picked for different reasons. We also have all lineups. This is every single feature lineup that we have for A features. What I've done and how you would do that is this lineup settings right here. You're able to put in the different lineups that you want to use that'll show up in that short list. You can go here anytime. You also can put in special names for them. So if there's a name that you want to use instead, so I could do soda heat, capitalize it. We could do that. See all the different options that you have available to choose from. So you can select those, and then those will show up in on the lineup options there. So if we go back to our heats and calculate that out, see that name change that I've done right there. That's a great question. Pardon me there. We're also going to be doing these webinars here. Not only is there one here at 6:45, we are also doing one at next Monday and Tuesday, at the same time at 5:30 and 6:45 Monday and Tuesday. Monday we'll be going over some MRP Live troubleshooting on the early class. The other one will go over more for points and pay, how we're going to do that, how we're going to do payouts, payout reports, a lot of different things in that realm. So that is something we're doing there. Tuesday, it's the 25th, the early show. We're going to be doing online registration in more detail, how to confirm drivers, duplicate drivers, what to do about those, online tickets, apparel, frequently asked questions, common questions that we could answer for you. And that's going to be both times on those. So a lot of different things we're doing there here and throughout months there. Could go through a B main lineup? Sure. So for B main lineups, we would create a lineup. We're just going to set a type for B feature. We're going to have to change this up. So you probably won't have to worry about already have completed your A features. So don't worry about that. So we'll set up who we want to go to the B. So it's going to want to know first who's going to the A. So we'll say no one for now. I'll say everyone's going to the B. And then we'll also want to set who's going from the B to the A. So I could do 10, for example, or let's mix it up. Let's say the top 3 drivers are going to my A feature, everyone else is going to the B, and then we'll send all of them. So that'll be at all 10 again. So we'll end up with 7 drivers in our B feature. So let's go to our lineups. It'll have a B feature lineup, and depending on what we want to do for the B, and have that. So we'll just choose whatever lineup we would like to use. We'll keep with the theme. We'll say it's a WISSOTA B feature. and calculate that out, and it's good to go. And again, we can repeat the whole process of sending the lineups into MRP Live, everything there. So, but that would be the process, and go into the results, set up our B, and it's good to go. Again, Alt and H, the place to go to ask questions there. I guess we'll take down attendance now. If you do want to put down your name and what organization or organizations you are with, that would be great. And I will take that down again. If you are with WISSOTA Track, we are reporting that to WISSOTA. So make sure you're listed, and you're also being entered into the drawing for free race management for 2021, which we're going to be doing probably towards, I would imagine, sometime in March after we get done with all of it and collate it. Also, all of this, if you would like to relive all of this, is going to be done. It's going to be on YouTube tomorrow morning, at some point tomorrow morning, before lunch. In all reality, if you just are dying to hear my voice more, it will be on there. Or if you want to learn a little bit more, go over it again. Whatever you'd like to do there. So, if you do have any questions, Alt and H, or if you want to be counted, again, I'm going to be going through all of these, marking you down, making sure, counting everybody. So that is the place to do it here. But if you do have any questions, it is your time to do so, to ask those questions and find out. Do that there. Got some good participation there. So yep, again, inside this points page, just make sure you go down here to this create payments. Helps with that report. We're going to be going over that next week, why that is, but know that we're going to want to do that to help with some of the different reporting that we're doing. And again, we've had a lot of different reports here as well. Also new in MRP Live, if you do run qualifying, we now have best lap view keywords. What that means is we have specific keywords down here that if you have that in your race, it'll actually switch the race over to best lap view automatically for the fans without them having to do anything. So to pick up on those names, and you can do that. You can change the keywords in here too. So that might be a bit different of a view for y'all, but you have that option if you so choose. So that's a cool new feature. We're pretty excited about it here. MyRacePass. And again, everything we're doing here, all available on the app. So be sure to let your fans know. There's a lot of cool things that you can do inside of the app. It's going to help the fans stay engaged, get excited about it. If you have any questions about how the app would work with that, or any ideas, now is the time to ask away. Happy to answer any questions that you may have there. So it is your time to ask those questions. So we have some questions about some new lineups. I do know some are still in the works. I cannot comment on specifically all of them. We do have a few different ones in there. And pardon me, I was having some having some water there. Again, Alt H spot to ask away, ask those questions there. Thanks again for just taking the time out of your day, showing up to the webinars. We are going to be having one here in a half an hour, going over everything. So feel free, again, if you have any of those questions, I can do that. We're going to be, if there's not any other questions, we'll probably be wrapping it up here pretty soon. Get prepped and ready to go for the next webinar. So if you do have any other, if you do have any questions or want to go through things, there's also the support of MyRacePass. There's also the season management and race management help and support. We also have the help videos that go over everything as well. So there's a lot of that. I'm also available as a resource if you do have any questions. The support at MyRacePass email will go to me at some way or another if you need those. And we'll be going through these webinars as well. Just leaving it open here for a few more questions. Probably wrap it up here in the next few minutes. So if you do have those questions, let me know there. But again, knowledge base, great place to go for learning. We also have the help videos, which are a collection of all these walkthroughs that we've done over the years, as well as tutorial videos that go over everything. We've recorded those, keep those fairly up to date. So they have those available if you need them. All right. Well, if you do have any other questions, anything at all, feel free to reach out. Again, that's support@myracepass.com. Review the knowledge base. Again, this video will be up on YouTube tomorrow morning, and we do have a webinar tonight here in a few more minutes, in about 20 or so minutes. So feel free to join in on that. Be happy to have you. It's been great tonight. And have a great rest of the night. Have a good one.